In an earlier investigation on this blog, we showed how a single analyst could find evidence of suspicious activity within a large financial institution. However, the detection of complex schemes often requires collaboration between teams with different specialties. Within a large institution, specialists have access to the data relevant to their specialties, but each independently cannot construct the whole picture. Palantir allows for secure collaboration and complicated fraud detection within large organizations, and makes it possible to securely share information outside the institution as well. Furthermore, Palantir performs this at scale by sifting through diverse datasets such as customer accounts, transaction histories, and web server logs, which alone are on the magnitude of 500 gigabytes per day. Tom is a threat management analyst at one of the world's largest banks. He has been alerted to potential fraud on a bank customer's account. Tom starts his analysis by looking at the transaction information available to him about this customer, Caitlin Kazil. By performing a search around for transactions, Tom can see the bank accounts and transaction types associated with this customer. Unmerging the links between the current graph nodes, we can see all of the transactions associated with this account as well. The histogram feature of Palantir provides a top-level overview of the shared values of certain properties associated with our dataset. Using the histogram helper bar, Tom notices certain details such as transaction type and the amounts of each transaction. We can open the timeline helper to understand the chronological sequence of the transactions. Tom notices that starting around Wednesday, May 26th, most of the transactions were of very small amounts, less than $1, most of which occurred chronologically before much larger withdrawals of around $40,000 and then $360,000. Tom becomes suspicious, recognizing this pattern as one he's seen before in cases of cyber fraud. Typically, ACH micro-transfers are used to set up access to external bank accounts. Once these transactions are successful and setup is complete, large amounts of money are siphoned from the accounts. Tom has the transaction-level proof to back his suspicions of this account. However, he can't be sure without consulting other departments, including the IT security team at this bank. Tom performs a search around to find the online profile associated with Caitlin Kazil, and decides to share this profile with Ingrid, an IT security specialist. Collaborating within large organizations is made easy via Palantir's collaboration application. By simply dragging the relevant object to the collaboration tool and dropping it within the body of a new message, we've attached Kazil1 as an object to Tom's message to Ingrid. Ingrid can then perform her analysis on Kazil1 using the information in the web server logs and other information provided to the IT security department, but which Tom might not have access to, nor the analytical background to effectively analyze. Tom receives a message from Ingrid a few minutes later, noting that there is some interesting global activity on this account. Ingrid also attaches a graph which holds information about IP and browser activity that she chooses to share with Tom. We can add Ingrid's workup to our graph to get a fuller picture of Kazil's activity. To see just how global the activity associated with Kazil1 is, we drag the information from Ingrid's workup to the map. Sure enough, we see that there is some US-based activity, not necessarily a cause for alarm, but there is also a cluster of activity in Nigeria, which does raise some red flags. Moreover, looking at the timeline, we see in yellow session activity happening in Nigeria immediately following alleged web access in the US in blue, indicating use of a web proxy. With both the transaction level and web server pieces of the puzzle, Tom has enough information to take action on this account. Tom can share the malicious IP addresses and agent activity with law enforcement agencies, other financial institutions, or whoever else would benefit from Tom's investigation. Tom decides to share the agent and IP address activity with Eric, an external analyst. Eric doesn't work at the same institution as Tom, so there is some information that Eric should not have access to, such as customer names, account information, and transactional detail. Indeed, Palantir sets data permissions when data is imported, and redacts the graph so that Eric sees exactly what the bank can securely share with him. Eric is then free to conduct his own investigation on the information we've shared and can take action accordingly.